Marty, I really want to thank you for sharing with me the information about your fights and the scary stuff that you had with Tom. And I know it can't be easy to talk about Crystal's dad and the things that happened in your house then. Looking at that, can you tell me more about how much Crystal saw or heard or experienced of the fighting and the yelling and violence?
Well, she was really little. She's just a baby. She was normally in her crib and asleep when Tom got really out of hand. He never hit me in front of her or nothing, and she didn't even know about it.
Well, as Crystal got older, can you tell me some about the conversations that you had with her about what went on between you and her dad?
Well, she was little, and we moved away pretty quick after that, and she never asked, so I never brought it up. And my mom always said, let sleeping dogs lie, so I guess that's what I did.
Well, you're not the first parent to make a decision like that when it comes to talking with your kids about stuff that's really hard to talk about. Can you tell me what you shared with Crystal's counselor about your past with your ex?
Nothing. She was just asking about recent stuff with Crystal, about her running away and skipping school and drugs.
Is there anything else that you think would be helpful for me to know about your past experiences with violence or Crystal's? Well, I know it was hard to talk about that, and again, thank you. Why don't we talk about the stuff that happened here today or last night? And I know that when I first got here and I explained to you and your husband who I was and why I was here, I talked generally about my seeing and talking with Crystal. But there is more to this than just what Crystal says. There are some marks on her face, and I need to ask you about those. I have a photograph that was taken at the hospital, and it's not a great photograph, but I'd like for you to look at it and tell me what you're seeing and what could have caused those marks. I mean, she's got the mark on her forehead, the bump on her forehead and around her nose, and then there's the issue of on her cheek.
Well, now that's a rash. It's a constant thing with her. She's allergic.
A rash?
Yeah.
Well, the doctor who examined Crystal said it was a mark made by hand. And I've worked a lot of situations like this, and it looks like a handprint to me.
No, she's allergic to chicken. Every time she eats it, she breaks out like this. It's a rash. We got to get it checked out.
Okay. I really want to make sure I understand what you're saying to me, okay? Because having it down correctly the way you see it and what you've said to me is very important. Please tell me if I say anything back and it's wrong, okay? Can you do that for me? Now, as I said, Crystal has some fairly substantial marks on her face. And when we were first talking tonight, your husband said that the marks were caused by Crystal running herself into a wall or hitting herself with a fist, and that that's what caused any injuries that she may have. Now, did I get that right? And now I understand that you're telling me that these marks on her cheek is an allergic reaction to, let's see, I think you said eating chicken, but that's what you're saying right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, why don't we step back for a minute? And it sounds like there's been a lot of stuff going on in your household. I'd really like to hear what you're most worried about when it comes to Crystal. What's going on now that causes you the most concern?
I don't know. I'm worried that she doesn't listen to Randy and me. She talks back all the time, and that makes us both upset. All the other kids do chores and she doesn't do hers unless I nag and nag. She's sneaking out, running around with older kids, and they give her beer and cigarettes and pot. There's older boys.
It sounds like you have a lot on your mind when it comes to Crystal. Which of the things that you've talked about worry you the most?
Run away, hanging out with those older kids. You know, some of them have been in trouble in foster care, and they get her to do stuff that gets her in trouble. Those older boys are trouble. Lately, every time she tells me she's sick and needs to stay home from school, I half expect her to be pregnant. That's my biggest worry. You know, I was 16 when I got pregnant with Crystal. And I wasn't ready to have a baby. I don't see how we can keep a baby here. Randy would have a fit. We barely have enough room here for us as it is. And she's not ready to have a baby. I know none of them boys are going to do right by her. I guess I'm also worried that she's going to be forced to have sex with one of them, all of them. I don't know.
It does sound like you have some really strong reasons to be worried about Crystal and her safety. What else do you think's going on that's making it hard for you to keep Crystal safe?
Nothing.
Nothing? Well, I'm going to be talking to Crystal again, and I'll be asking her that question. What do you think she's going to tell me?
She'll tell you her friends aren't dangerous. She'll say, I don't know what she's going to say to you.
Marty, do you think Crystal thought she would be safe if she stayed here today? Why don't we talk about that? What do you think it is that makes Crystal feel unsafe here in your home? Is there anything or any people that make her feel unsafe?
Randy. Randy makes her scared. He doesn't mean to, not all the time. But he does think he's the man of this house, and everyone should do what he says.
Tell me a little bit more about that. I know it's hard to talk about. Take your time. I'm not in a hurry.